I focus on the now. I think it's very important for me to do exactly that and not be distracted or put too much focus anywhere other than what it is that I'm doing now. My fire is burning, and my fire is big. You can throw whatever you want in there for it to burn and for it to get bigger. Oh, Acho, Cowboys doing too much talking here?
Man, them Cowboys doing a little too much chirping, Marcellus. Ooh. They're doing too much chirping because, to their credit, to Jerry Jones' credit, let me build him up first.
Yes,
he has built an empire. Not necessarily on the field, but he has built an empire as far as the Cowboys brand. For 2 years, 2016, 2017, I worked in Dallas. I worked for the Cowboys in that media department. I worked at the Star. You walk into the Star, Marcellus, one Cowboys way in Frisco, Texas, and you walk into the Star, $1 million of chandeliers.
Yeah.
You have replicas or the actual Super Bowl trophy sitting there, all of it, and you see the build, you see the hype. But the problem is, the Cowboys have been living off of hype since I was born. 3 years after I was born. Because when I was born into the glory days.
Right.
I was born, I had an Emmitt Smith poster in my room, and it still had holes in it because it got jammed into my locker growing up. So I'm going to let you know it was real.
All in.
But since then, Marcellus, the last 24 years, Cowboys haven't been to a Super Bowl, haven't been to an NFC championship game. So if we're being honest, and I hate to say it, but the Cowboys have really been imposters. And they've been imposters because the expectations are so high. And why are they so high? Because each and every year, Jerry and Stephen Jones, they sell us on how good the franchise is going to be. And I buy it. I buy the hype. I believe the hype. And then the players, Zeke, Dak, they're selling us on dreams. And I'm buying it, Marcellus. I'm believing the hype. And then the roster, it sells us on glory. You got star after star at receiver, one of the best offensive lines, even though La'el Collins is hurt now. You got a quarterback who's a top 5 passer as far as yardage. And so you believe the hype. But then if the devil's in the details, the Cowboys only have 3 meaningful wins in the last 2 decades. 3 playoff wins. That is a problem, Marcellus. So, yes, they're doing too much chirping because they're not doing enough winning.
They're not doing too much chirping. They're not doing too much talking.
Sir.
What you're doing, and you're trying to really show it, is having buyer's remorse because you keep buying the hype. You know, Emmanuel Acho takes 30 seconds of clips that were spread out over 3 different months and says they just can't stop talking about how good they are. Wow, what a classic case of selective perception by you, Acho. And I didn't think you would fall into that sunken psychology. You're the out-of-towner, and I live here in L.A., born and raised. I've seen the Stars from 3rd grade. You're the out-of-towner that comes from Austin, Texas, shall you, and comes to L.A., gets off the airplane, drives through in his cab, gets to his hotel, and calls his friend, oh, my God, L.A. is crazy. Everyone has a Mercedes. Everyone's rich out here.
They do.
You see what I'm saying?
This is the crazy. And Bentleys. I seen a Rolls Royce while I was riding my bike this morning.
And you just forgot to look at all the Camrys, all the Sentras.
There are a couple of those.
There are more of those actually out here. But that's my point. Have you ever been a Dallas Cowboy? No, you haven't. You've been in there. You were working for the Cowboys, but you don't know how it feels to be on the varsity squad. I do.
Okay, talk to me.
It wasn't a good experience for me, but I know what the Stars still feels like. And let me tell you, JV team, because that's what University of Texas is. The JV of Texas. It's not the Houston Texans.
I'll let them get these shots out.
Yeah, I'm getting my shots fully loaded.
Get these shots out, please.
When you're a JV squad, you don't understand how you're inundated, how you're flooded with national attention on the daily. The beat writers in Dallas are in the dozens in comparison to other NFL teams. People always say when you make it to the NFL, you've arrived. Oh, no. Once you become a Dallas Cowboy, you've arrived. Let me tell you about this experience and how it translates around the NFL. You keep talking about the Dallas Cowboys, chirping. What happens when the Bears and Allen Robinson comes out and says, we want to win a Super Bowl, and that's the main thing? Where's Acho then in his selective perception? What about when Ryan Pace, GM of the Bears, comes up? I really feel like we can excel this season. Our expectations are championship expectations. Where's the A block? Where's Acho? Where's his everyone in L.A. has a Benz? That's the problem, brother. You are doing what the Dallas Cowboys know you will do, which is look at them and make it bigger than it is.
You, sir, are a part of the problem.
Oh, I am?
You, Marcellus, Wiley are a part of the you are the problem, actually. You just sat here and you told me, and you made the comparison out of your own mouth, that the Cowboys are varsity. Right?
Yeah.
If the Cowboys and playing for the Cowboys are varsity,
yes,
then they have varsity expectations. Yeah. But how come the Cowboys only have 2 more playoff appearances than the Browns in the last 20 years? If the Cowboys are varsity, then where's the varsity achievement? No, sir, not yet, because I'm still going. I'm about to roll and start writing your notes because you're going to need every single ounce of them. Get every bit of ink out of that pen because I'm about to go. Last 20 seasons. Giants, they've been to 3 Super Bowls. They've won 2. Last 20 seasons, Eagles, not only have they been to 2 Super Bowls, they've been to 6 conference championships. Cowboys, what have they given us in the last 20 seasons? The only other teams, Marcellus, in the NFC that haven't been where the Cowboys are trying to go are the Lions and some other terrible team that is slipping my mind right now. Okay? So you, sir, are actually the problem because people like you say the Cowboys are varsity. Yeah. People like you say the Cowboys are the gold standard. Yeah. People like you perpetuate that the Cowboys are America's team. While the Cowboys are greatness, they embody that because of what Jerry Jones has done with that brand and what Jerry Jones has done with that team. The Cowboys and their expectations let us down every year. Dak Prescott, what was he last year? He was 8-8. But Dak Prescott was 1-6 versus playoff teams, along with likes of Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston. 2 of those quarterbacks are currently backups. But Dak Prescott, he should be the highest paid quarterback. Let Marcellus tell it. So the problem at hand here is you continue to build up these Cowboys. I continue to buy into the hype that they're varsity. They're varsity. I want them to be varsity. I was born in Dallas. I live 20 minutes away from Cowboy Stadium and 18 minutes away from the Star. I'm smack dab in Dallas, not a suburb. I have the Emmitt Smith poster. But it's time for me to stop buying into the hype and stop listening to these Cowboys players because they're doing too much talking like you just finished doing.
Wow. It's amazing that the Cowboys are guilty of doing what every single team in the NFL does in the offseason, which is win the offseason. And the Cowboys do it, all of a sudden, you take it and make it grander than it is because they're the Cowboys. You're putting more shine on it just because they're the star. And you know what? It's amazing to me that I'm working with such a youngster because that's a testament to how great you are, how fast you hit the ground running. You're 29 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
And right now, when it comes to historical data, I notice you say a lot in the last 20 years. In the last 20 years. Because, brother, maybe you ain't been here long enough to know how long the Cowboys have been rolling. And let's talk about the Cowboys when Jerry Jones first purchased them. What were they, 1-15? Yeah. And then you like to go past those 3 championships they won in those 4 years. You like to go past that. But I don't. Because I'm not going to just suffer from recency bias and only look you.
24 years isn't recent.
Oh, no.
24 years is a long time.
It certainly is, but it is still under the same ownership watch. You got to give Jerry Jones his full credit, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
You can't say outside of those 3 Super Bowls.
That's fair.
Because Dallas Cowboys are sitting there with the 3rd most amount of championships in NFL history. We know that they're behind the Patriots and they're behind the Steelers. So when you talk about this varsity, make sure you respect them in fullness, not just in your last 20 years, youngster.
I have a couple issues with what you're saying because what actually was the operative factor in the success for the Cowboys? Was it Jerry Jones or was it Jimmy Johnson? Because one of them left. And so did the Super Bowl.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
What do you want me not to do? What do you want me not to do?
Did Barry Switzer win the championship?
Okay, he got one. He got one. And I'm probably 2.5. But let's get back to the point because here's my real issue with what you're saying. You told me yesterday, and you told me today, my problem, America, is that I listened to Marcellus Wiley. Because what Marcellus told me is no one cares what you're doing until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Marcellus, you told me that. So nobody cares that Jerry builds Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. Nobody cares that you have a $1.3 billion facility. You got what? 3,252-inch televisions in this stadium. Nobody cares that you walk into your practice facility, sir, and you have $1 million in chandeliers. You have glass windows all in this practice facility, and you land your helicopter there. And everybody knows that Jerry Jones has arrived when the Jerry Chopper shows up and pulls in on the grass. I'm telling you, I've been there. I was there every day.
It's real.
Nobody cares what you're doing until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Jerry Jones, you're doing so much extra stuff. You got a radio show every week you be on. These other GMs don't, Marcellus. Browns GMs, Redskins, they don't. But Jerry does. But the problem is, Jerry, the one thing you're supposed to be doing, winning Super Bowls, you not doing. So, yes, Marcellus, now I care about everything else that Jerry's doing because he's not doing what other organizations are doing. Ryan Pace, the Bears GM, he's not sitting here on different talk shows each and every day. He's not sitting down with star reporters for star networks coming off of his yacht in L.A. with his glasses on, sitting down with all the glamour. And Ryan Pace isn't doing that. Jerry Jones is doing that.
And how many Super Bowls has Ryan Pace?
He's significantly younger. But he has one with the Saints. He does have one with the Saints.
Good for him.
In the last 10 years, what Jerry got? Jerry got?
3 times that amount. Let's keep talking. There's a double bottom line. I know you took a business course.
Okay,
of course. All that psychology stuff and everything else you took at Texas, right? There's a double bottom line, they say. You got to do well and do good, right? Jerry has done well for himself. What is the Dallas Cowboys ranked in terms of financial worth?
Number 1, I would assume.
Oh, you assume? They're number 1. Okay, so he's done well. Now let's talk about doing good. And usually that's in the charity scope. But let's just talk about doing good. Like, be good at your job. Jerry Jones has 3 trophies of equity that somehow, some way, you have lost picture of because all you want to talk about is the last few years.
No, Marcellus, I haven't lost picture. My problem is
also in the Hall of Fame, but Ryan Pace, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Pace.
How long can you rest on your laurels of old, Marcellus? How long are you going to keep telling me, well, no, here's Marcellus. In 20 years, you're going to be like, well, back in my day, young Acho.
Yeah,
See, back in my day, remember Jerry Jones had won about 2 or 3 titles back in the early 1990s. Come on, Marcellus. You know what have you done for me lately?
No, you sound like new money, brother. I'm old money over here. I'm generational wealth. You don't see it, the flash. You don't see it all the time. But trust me, don't ever test it because it's there. You're paying attention to the Cowboys. And you're trying to make it seem like they're trying to seek attention. There's a big difference. You ever seen that? You ever seen that play out? You ever seen that beautiful Tiffany Cambridge? I'm always talking about Tiffany Cambridge, 9th grade, most beautiful person I ever saw in my eyes. Good Lord. And Tiffany would just walk into class. But it wasn't her fault that the class would stop learning, stop teaching, to focus on her. And then it got misconstrued to she just want everybody to stare at her. When the reality was, that was on you. Onus on you, brother, for always paying attention to her. You're doing the same thing to the Dallas Cowboys. You dare, and you're a reasonable human being.
Don't talk about Tiffany Cambridge. You're a reasonable human being, so I have to ask you. You were going to tell me that in the midst of Jerry Jones building a complete stadium, which was coined Jerry World, Jerry Jones having a practice facility that is extremely luxurious and having a condominium essentially attached to said practice facility. You're going to tell me that by videoing all of these stars that happen to be at games, there are a lot of stars that go to games, sir, but when you see Conor McGregor showing up at the Cowboys, you better believe the whole world going to know about it. You're going to tell me that the Cowboys don't do anything to seek attention. Please, sir, speak now the truth.
Yes.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes. Using your premise, using your optics. And Jerry's World is the biggest, baddest thing in sports. Oh, no, it's not anymore. Oh, that new SoFi Stadium. SoFi Stadium, bigger, badder, $4 billion stadium. Not even Jerry's World, trumping that. Stan Kroenke and my man, Dean Spanos, respect to them. I mean, combined Super Bowls. And doing it bigger. It's not always seeking attention. It's just the fact that you're paying attention. You can do it big. And Jerry has 3 trophies of equity and a Hall of Fame status. If he can't flex, who in the hell in the world should be able to? I won.